I'd now like to invite the CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority to give the welcoming remarks.
His Excellency, President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, Minister of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell, Minister within the Ministry, Ms. Suzanne Rodriguez, Chairman of the Board, Dr. Emmanuel Cummins, other board members, members of the management team of CH&PA, colleagues, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning and welcome to this special occasion. My task here this morning is very simple, but one that I hold in great esteem since this event, Dream Realize Housing Outreach, was conceptualized out of the need to advance the government's national housing program. Over the next few days, 2 days, we will be distributing titles and transport to persons who would have ended their financial obligations with us and are ready to process the ownership of their homes. There is no greater joy of any adult in owning your own home. That is indeed a dream realized. At Ministry of Housing and CH&PA, we are part of realizing those dreams. So with these few words, I'd like to welcome you. Enjoy the day and make full use of the staff of CH&PA. We have brought the entire team here. We will be handing out the transports and titles, but we will be also addressing queries, taking application forms, and giving out information as is required. So with those words, I'd like to hand you over back to Andre Ali, our Permanent Secretary, who will take you through the rest of the day's proceedings. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is clearly a testimony to this. Please help me to welcome to the podium the energetic and vibrant Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Honorable Susan Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. His Excellency President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, Minister of Housing and Water, Honorable Colin Crowell, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mr. Andre Ali, CEO of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, Chairman, board members and staff of CH&PA, dignitaries, special invitees, the press, and of course the reason we are here today, the recipients of titles on transport. Good morning and welcome to you all. As the Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, I wish to take this opportunity to personally thank His Excellency for gracing us with his presence and for joining us in celebrating and highlighting the accomplishment of the persons who will be receiving their titles and transports today. Perhaps one of the biggest achievements in a person's life is the ownership of their own home. It brings with it a sense of pride, fulfillment, and security. It opens the door to endless opportunities, such as access to lending institutions, climbing the social ladder, and leaving an inheritance for your children, thereby providing the next generation with a stepping stone on which to begin their own lives. Under the leadership of President Ali, the housing sector will be restored to the place it once enjoyed and will be steered to move beyond allocation of house lots, but will focus mainly on encouraging, promoting, and facilitating home ownership and community building. We are determined to provide every Guyanese family with a decent home in a safe, secure, and proper neighborhood, not as squatters or tenants, but as responsible and proud owners with titles that banks and other lending institutions will regard as good security. Our housing development program is designed to implement national housing and settlement policies through an efficient, well-planned, coordinated, and structured framework in order to realize the development of sustainable, affordable, and modern settlements. Our government will deliver service lots through a comprehensive and coordinated approach among all of the agencies involved, so that Guyanees of all income brackets can enjoy a community lifestyle. Our country is on the cusp of a great economic explosion, and we believe and we will make it possible for our country to benefit from that development and for Guyanese of all walks of life to experience a significant elevation in their standard of living. It is true that we have inherited many challenges, but our government is committed to exploring all opportunities which will allow us to provide lots and homes in communities with proper roads, drainage, water, electricity, streetlights, recreational and shopping centers, with the aim to transform the landscape of our country, making it the envy of the Caribbean and South America. With the piqued interests of tourists around the globe about our country, it is important that we encourage a sense of national pride and patriotism. And with the influx of foreign investors, we must be willing as a nation to embrace the technological advances in the construction sector, which will provide opportunities for training and further expedite the construction of homes, thereby allowing us to fulfill our manifesto promise of 50,000 lots. Our government has already signaled its interest in ensuring the requisite policy measures are put in place to ensure home ownership, including increasing the ceiling for mortgage relief from 15 to 30 million and moving the low-income threshold for loans from 8 to 10 million, thereby allowing greater access to financial resources. But of course, government alone cannot deliver such a transformational agenda, and therefore we must meaningfully engage the private sector and private partners, some of whom are here today in the form of the banks and the insurance companies, among others. The private sector input will allow our government to make that transformation a reality and help us to deliver on our commitments even more quickly, because our people have waited long enough and they have elected a government whom they trust to manage their future and the resources of our country. I wish to close by congratulating the title and transport recipients here today. As you walk across this stage a little later to receive your title, you should be proud of yourselves, appreciating your own efforts and sacrifices to get to this point, and realizing the significance of your achievement. I wish you all the best in the future, and I assure you that our engagement does not end here today, but that we will continue to be of service to you as you pursue the next step in your home ownership journey and making your dream realized. Thank you.
He previously held the post of Permanent Secretary at several ministries before his appointment to his current post. Please help me to welcome to the podium the calm, determined, and confident Minister of Housing and Water, the Honorable Colin Crowell.
Thank you very much, Master Chairman. His Excellency, President Irfan Ali, colleague Minister Susan Rodrigues, the Board Chairman of Central Housing and Planning Authority, as well as other board members, Chief Executive Officer of CHPA and other staff of the Central Housing and Planning Authority, staff of the Ministry of Housing and Water, special invitees, fellow citizens, good morning. I am overjoyed today that after just 75 days of the PPPC returning back to office, we are able to hand over 350 certificate of titles and transports to citizens who have been waiting for many years to become homeowners. But I want to assure you that this is just the beginning of what is to come. But it would be remiss of me if I did not remind the people of Guyana that the PPPC's Manifesto 2020 promised to create 10,000 house lots annually to invest in support infrastructure, in existing and new housing schemes, to reverse value-added tax on building materials, to facilitate affordable financing for homeownership, to promote homeownership particularly among youths and young professionals through tax and other incentives, to promote partnerships and incentives from the private sector involvement. We promised, too, that we will ensure that water rates remain affordable and that we will reinstate water subsidies to pensioners. We will expand treated water to more areas, upgrade the distribution and transmission of water in both urban, rural, and even hinterland areas, to reduce losses in the distribution system, and to create institutional mechanisms to rationalize the country's water resources through an integrated water resource management framework. This we intend to complete over the next 5 years. Today, I stand here and proudly announce that those initiatives that are no longer promises, but they are now on the step of becoming reality. Those promises have become reality under your government, the PPPC government, which is committed to delivering to all Guyanese the dream of owning your own home. The housing challenge in Guyana is one of the most significant thrusts of the government. And we are going to ensure that the quest of every Guyanese to own his or her own is realized, but we also will ensure that those house lots are allocated, but you have service levels, you have residents who can occupy them, knowing that critical amenities, like has been mentioned before, water, roads, street lightings, recreational facilities are all put in place before we speak about handing over. But to achieve all of this will entail a gradual process, as we intend to do this in a responsible and sustainable way. We must get it right this time. In this regard, we have already implemented several reforms. Owning your own home is a personal achievement that everyone strives for, but it is not always easily or readily done. The challenges are many. Access to easy finance, affordable building materials, and access to insurance, reputable and honest contractors, and most of all, the availability of lands and the associated infrastructure. But your government is acutely aware of the needs of your citizens, and my ministry has spared no effort to fast-track the process to ensure that as many of you that qualify can be awarded your titles and transport in record time. Already, our government has reversed many of the previous regimes' burdensome interventions. Chief among those poorly thought out policies was the imposition of VAT on building materials. Today, that has been removed. What that means for you is that now you will be able to buy building materials at a much cheaper price than what was obtained 75 days ago. It means you will have more buying power and will be able to save in that process. We have raised the ceiling for mortgage interest relief already from $15 to $30 million. Increase the limit for low-income loans. Reverse the VAT on building materials. But let me say this. Raising the mortgage interest relief threshold will release and result in at least 55% of borrowers being able to recover from $500,000 to $1 million yearly once they apply for that relief. That, my friends, is your government in action. Here with us today are the banks, many of whom you will be able to engage for loans. The title or transport you receive today should allow you to be able to access at an affordable rate. Low-income housing loans, an initiative of the PBPC, is offered by all our local banks. I want to ask the banks, especially that they be cognizant of the hardship that COVID-19 has brought on many citizens, and to be flexible with applicants when they approach your bank. In the very near future, my ministry, the Ministry of Housing and Water, intends to further engage the bank sector to introduce single window processing, reduce the permit for processing of time, and we have committed that we will bring this to under a month. Focus on infrastructure, among other urgent reforms needed to accelerate this sector. If anything COVID-19 has taught us is that we must have a backup plan for when things go wrong or when it's out of your control. The insurance companies are present and they can help in your backup plan. Be sure to visit their booths and have a chat with them about your options, not just about house insurance, but about health and other solutions that they may have. For those of you who are here to access the services offered by Central Housing and Planning Authority and the Guyana Water Incorporation, be sure to leave your correct contact information. Too often we found that information for applicants, it's incorrect or had to be changed, and this makes it difficult for the officers to make contact. Be sure too to ask every question you may have so that when you leave here, you can be properly equipped with the necessary information. We are working to improve all of the processes for the services that are offered by these two agencies so that citizens do not become frustrated with the time taken to access water for reconnections, for meter installations, for fault reporting, or even for status updates. Already, myself and my colleague, Minister Susan Rodriguez, have visited many areas in desperate need of water. While we were able to almost immediately make water available in some of those communities, we are working on infrastructure for other areas, so I ask you, the residents, to be patient. We must remember our water sector is an important component of our home ownership and our community development. As such, our key focus on the water for the next 5 years will include extending water coverage throughout Guyana, increasing the meter coverage, expand treated water coverage, implementing an improved GWI strategic plan, focus on non-revenue water reduction and sanitation. We also have the telephone, internet, and cable operators present here today, and they have generously lowered the prices for their services and devices. Now more than ever, access to the internet is critical to homes, especially for those families with children and adults who are in school or even university. Cheaper internet services are extremely important. With the recent liberalization of the telecommunications sector, already the cost for internet has become affordable. It is my hope that other operators will soon announce similar reductions. Finally, it would be remiss of me if I do not wish to thank our President, for his abiding interest and vision for the housing sector. Indeed, he has made a bold promise in our manifesto of 50,000 house lots, a minimum that is, in the first 5 years. And I'm excited to be part of his team to bring the promise to fruition. It will not be easy or quick, but it will be done. Thank you to all the representatives of the corporate community who have given tangible support to this event, and to the organizers for their hard work. I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can. Do remember to wear your mask, practice physical social distancing, wash your hands as often as possible. It is my wish that we have a safe and incident-free event. Let's make your dream realized. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Colin Crowell. Ladies and gentlemen, we regard today's event as historic and significant, simply because we invited someone of great importance to deliver the feature address. Maybe the most significant aspect of the guest speaker's appearance here today is the fact that he once commanded the helm of this very ministry and led the most successful housing program in the history of Guyana to date. The fact that he has graced this forum with his presence and further agreed to deliver the feature address is indicative of his continued commitment to assist every Guyanese to realize their dream of home ownership. It is with those few words that I wish to invite to the podium former Minister of Housing and Water and President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali.
Please be seated. Colleagues at the head table, members of the religious community, my respected elders, members of the private sector, staff of the Ministry of Housing and Water, fellow Guyanese, good morning. Good morning. This morning it gives me great honor and privilege to present to you an outline of the vision for the housing sector. A vision that aims at creating the opportunities for you to build your houses. But more importantly, a vision that seeks to create homes, strengthen families, bring together communities, and lift our country up in unity, prosperity, and progress. And that is more important. When we understand that housing is not only about development of house lots, housing is about empowerment. It is about families. It is about opportunities. And I do not want, for a moment, I do not want us to lose focus on that greater intangible good. Sometimes when things are not physical in nature, we take them for granted. But it is these intangible goods and good that are so critical for the evolution and development of societies. So I wanted to make that point very early. Today, we're talking about dreams and making dreams reality. Dreams without action remains a dream. You can have the greatest dream, but if you don't take action on that dream, it remains a dream. Today I'm going to outline to you a set of concrete action that we are going to implement to ensure that we deliver 50,000 house lots to the people of this country. It is not wild work. It is not wild promises. It is a strategic goal with a strategic direction and a well thought out map in getting there. That is why I don't need to rehearse a speech to tell you about housing. What I am presenting to you is a plan that we understand, but more importantly, a plan we want all of Guyana to embrace. Because this plan is about uplifting the lives of every Guyanese. It is about connectivity, connecting our country. It is about creating new areas of density. We cannot talk about sustainability in a housing program if we cannot create areas of density. Areas of density create demand. Demand creates job opportunity. It creates new growth pole, new tongues. And importantly, a program that lends itself to affordability. Because of the shift in our economic prospect, things can become overpriced very easily. That is why it's very important for the government to embrace a program with the private sector, creating the enabling environment with the right set of incentives that will ensure the issue of affordability is addressed. So that is the third area of focus, affordability. And all of this leads to dignity, national dignity. When people have a stronger belief in themselves, there is nothing more empowering than owning your own home. When you're very young, you always dream of turning your own keys. There is nothing more empowering than owning your own home. And in all of this, we want to create a network of infrastructure that leads us to main growth areas not more than 25 minutes. So the transportation plan has to be linked to a time frame of getting into a growth area. And we have identified that to be 25 minutes. So you will see all the transformational infrastructure that I'm talking about linked to this overarching plan, this transportation plan that leads you to a growth pole in 25 minutes. In achieving this, we have to create partnerships. The minister spoke about this extensively. But our partners must also come into the program understanding that they have a social responsibility. So the partnership must not be driven exclusively on profit margins. Very important. And I'm happy the partners are here. Sometimes, and I see Mr. Chester laughing, I hope that the banking sector is getting this one right. Because when we give incentives, we expect that the people must get the translated benefit of those incentives. And we want to ensure that they get the benefit. And we want to partner with the private sector. And those who know my style, I say that it has to be said. So, we are bringing together the hardware stores, the banks, the builders, the contractors, the developers, and all of this is geared towards achieving economies of scale. If we give the banks a ready market of 25,000 homes, it is reducing their marketing costs to go after customer. and reducing many other costs, even the operational costs, becomes less. Although you're processing more, your operational costs will come down. And these are the type of intangible benefit from a comprehensive housing system that's what we don't see physically, but you benefit from. Then we have our diaspora that we have to engage, not only in home ownership, but becoming part of the program. We are examining ways in which they can be associated with the housing development through home ownership as migrants, but also through providing resources, financial resources. There is great potential in creating a diaspora fund that can be utilized in a sector like the housing sector. And this is also under consideration at the moment, creating a diaspora housing fund. Because they get 0.5% interest at prime, right, Chester? And if they have an investment that gives you even 1.5% return or 2% return, then we are creating a new market and we are creating new access to capital. This is the vision. Housing is not only about house lots and homes, you know. There's a comprehensive set of policies that has to be developed. Then we have a large migrant population, Guyanese originally who are coming back from Venezuela, who are resettling back in Guyana. That is another new target group that we have to look at. That presents challenges also for the housing program when we talk about affordable housing. And on this note, let me say to my brothers and sisters in success who we have reached out to on many occasions, it is not that we want you to be dislodged in the area. We want you to own your homes too. That is why we sent the housing team so many times to see you. But there's the right way in doing things and the wrong way. In Guyana, we have to get accustomed to doing things the right way. Otherwise, we'll be developing communities that are not sustainable. We want to help you. We're going to move as fast as possible in this program. But I'm appealing to Guyanese. Let us do it the right way. If you invest $5 million in a squatter settlement, there is no value because it cannot be used as collateral. If you invest it in a structured scheme, there is value. You can capitalize that sometimes for more than $5 million, $7 million, $8 million. Then we have another target group, the hinterland communities. For the hinterland, our focus has to be on subsidized housing. The concept of affordable moves to subsidized housing. And that is where we have to have cross-subsidization. And in the hinterland, subsidized housing was not only about creating homes, but it has to be linked to job creation, better services in terms of power and water, and community life. And we have already moved in advancing the service level. By January next year, we are hoping to have at least 30,000 home solar units to go to the hinterland communities. What are some of the key and critical links that will open up new opportunities for housing, that will open up new lands, and create new areas of growth and prosperity? I start with the Quarantine River Bridge. The Quarantine River Bridge presents an extraordinary opportunity for our farmers to expand production and enter into a new market, for commercial activity, for the services sector, but more importantly, in the development of a new settlement that is linked to job creation and economic expansion. So that one development in that area can be the catalyst for at least 1,000 homes in that region. And this is the type of thinking we are having. The new Demerara River Bridge, which reduce traveling time by 75%. It will reduce traveling time by 75% and create a net trade-off value for lands on the west side of the river. You will see a marked bridging of the gap in land value on this side of the river and on the west side of the river, because there is greater connectivity. And that would lead to the creation of new housing development. It is also linked to what we want to do. That is a 4-lane new West Demerara Highway from the bridge going all the way to Purika, opening up again tens of thousands of acres of land. The opening up of these lands and the building of that infrastructure will bring you into Georgetown within the time frame of 25 to 30 minutes. That is the link. And then that time frame to the city ensures there is no great differentials in the value of the asset. This is the vision. This is what we are talking about. Then, to support this, we are now discussing the Wales Development Authority, which we want to launch, which we will launch very shortly. The Wales Development Authority will be a new area of development that will benefit from special incentives, that will benefit from a special tax regime to motivate investors in manufacturing, industrial development, warehousing, connectivity, wharf development. And of course, I want to say this here today, we are looking at the zoning of activities. We have to learn from our experiences. We can't have harmful waste and harmful chemicals stored in a concentrated area. So we have to look at where would be the new zoning. And these type of activity will drive a new economic revolution that will create sustainable housing and sustainable jobs. That is linked to massive housing development that we are going to do on the west bank side of the river. And I'm saying this to say to those on the east coast and east bank too, that when you're thinking that, oh, you know, when I was Minister of Housing, one of the great difficulties we have is that when you offer somebody parfait, they say, no, I want to stay on the East Bank or East Coast, or I want to stay next to my parents, or I want to live next to my brother, or all 5 of my cousins. You will have the connectivity to get to your parents quickly. The infrastructure will be there. Do not lose your opportunity. When we started the young professionals, we sold those homes for what, 13 million or 12 million. I don't know, Denise is here. When we sold those homes, today, the value of those homes are $35, $40 million. When we started the 1,000 home project, I remember a political commentator at that time said that we're taking the lower-income people to the back. Little did that political commentator know, in a long-term vision, that was the front. Because that is where the 4-lane road will go. And what we did for those low-income earners is to give them an asset value that they can go to the bank with and get 5 times the value for the infrastructure investment they have there. That is visionary. That is transformative. That is empowering. That is what breaks the cycle of poverty. It is not only about giving you a house, but ensuring that house gives you the ability to increase your net value, to increase your asset value, so you can use it as a catalyst. You can use it as a catalyst to go in your own business or to empower yourself and family. Another important aspect of the housing program. Then we have the Ogle to Timeri Road Bypass, the new 4-lane road. The phase 1 of that road will start very shortly from Ogle to Eccles, with connection coming out to the new bridge, connection out to Georgetown and all the way to the east coast. The phase 2 will take us to Diamond and then to Timeri phase 3. That will open up a whole new set of opportunities for industrial development, manufacturing. But then I'm going to come to a segment of the market that we never talked about before. These are the type of infrastructure that will reduce the time of transit and also create new areas of growth. What we want to achieve, in short, is what the technical people would call hub development. Hub development. To support all of this, we are also moving to expand our investment in water treatment, because our overall objective is to move as close as possible to 100% treated water coverage all across our country. To support the housing program, you will see continuous incentives being given to builders, to bankers, to hardware stores, to the applicants themselves. And we want to move towards home construction, as the ministers would have said, because we are hoping to achieve simultaneously 75% occupancy whilst development is ongoing. To do this, we have to get a lot of private capital to build the homes so we can achieve economies of scale. And we are targeting a few categories, starting from $5 million for your house and land to $6 million, $12 million, and $15 million. This would help us in terms of value transfer. It will create a development mix, and it will help us to achieve economies of scale. We did a calculation. If you were to build one of the homes that we're going to build for $5 million, it will cost you around $6.8 million. But we can do this because you achieve economies of scale. But to ensure there is quality, there will be a retention period that the contractors will have to maintain key aspects of the construction. These are some of the initiatives that you will see. We are hoping that at the start of November, we want to break ground for the first 5,000 homes. We want to break ground for the first 5,000 homes. I want to ask applicants to examine this option. Because not only are we going to do the homes, we are going to work with the banks, not wear their ties and their suit. I see a lot of the bankers wear suit and tie today. Sometimes when you see them in the bank, you're afraid to approach them. We want them to come with their t-shirts with us under one big tent and pre-qualify the homeowners right here so that your loans can be pre-qualified. So that by the time infrastructure and home construction is achieved, your loan is pre-qualified, you get your loan, you move into your home, and you enjoy your new life with your family. So we have a few targeted groups at the individual level, at the community level. Young professionals, the young professionals, our nurses, joint services, clerical workers, teachers, and the religious community must play a key role in this housing, in the housing development too. And we're going to work with the religious stakeholders because they have an important role in creating homes, and they have to be part of their overall vision. But we want to include farmers with a new highway that will be created that goes all the way to Tiberi. It gives us an opportunity to look at farmsteads, where we empower farmers to own their own homes, but they get enough land so that they can cultivate at a level that can support their families. Farmsteads. These are the initiatives that we believe can not only rekindle hope, but can bring our country together. My greatest passion, my greatest vision is to see us all live united. For us to see each other as Guyanese. For us to love each other as Guyanese. For us to protect each other as Guyanese. That is my greatest dream for Guyana. In achieving all of this, one may ask a very pertinent question. Where is the capital coming from? I already identified one source. But we have recently launched an ad in the newspaper to raise $250 million for the housing sector. And we invited individuals or agencies to submit term sheets. I must tell you, the response has been nothing but overwhelming. We have already engaged at the bilateral, multilateral, and regional level many agencies. Every single head of state I spoke to so far, I've outlined housing as a top priority and asked that financing of the housing program be taken into the consideration of their development fund. My most recent conversation with the Emir of Qatar requested of him to look at housing from the Qatari Development Fund. So fellow Guyanese brothers and sisters, over the next few days here and across Guyana, we'll be distributing more than 2,600 titles, 2,600 titles. And over the 5 years, 50,000 house lots. But we want to at least build 25,000 homes. Thank you very much. God bless you. All the best. Be safe. Take care of yourself and families. God bless you.
We'd like to move on to the meat of the event, and that is the actual distribution of titles. The Land Allocation Department, I'm calling for the first recipient.
Mr. Royston Green and Ms. Lorraine Adridge. Ms. Dioki Goberdan. Ms. Claudette Abrams. Ms. Annabelle Gibson. Ms. LeWanda Fordyce, and Ms. Paulette Barton.